Today's episode is number 335, and we're diving into how top real estate agents are winning in 2025 to help you not just be busy, but be better. So last week I called out what a lot of people don't like to hear. I mean, it's not like abnormal of me, but things have to be said. But this spring market, it's not saving anybody. Instead, it's exposing the lazy ones. The ones without systems, without structure, and without a real plan. But today we're going to go one level deeper because being not lazy, it's not the answer. Which might sound a little bit awkward, but just stay with me here. You see, just being busy, it's not some badge of honor either. I see too many agents, and I talk a lot about time management, but I see too many agents running around in circles, mistaking motion for progress, packed schedules, empty pipelines, and burnout with no deals to show for it. So, in this episode, I'm breaking down how the top agents are actually operating this year, like right now in 2025, what they're doing differently, and what you need to fix if you want to close more, earn more, and build a real business that can sustain this market, and in fact, any market. So let's get into it. First thing we got to understand here is that busy is easy, but productive is rare. Oftentimes, we may think we can't control our production, we can't control how much business we're doing, but we're in fact in full control. I just had a coaching client reach out to me and let me know that she finally went out door knocking. She was super proud of herself because she went by there, she door knocked a house, people weren't home, she left a handwritten note for them, obviously connected with them the right way. They called her back. She went and met with them. Long story short, she gets the listing. And she says to me, she's like, I wish I did it sooner. I wish I did it more often. And she also stated how proud of herself that she was for the fact that she actually took the time to do it. Now, I went back to her and I said, look, when we look at our days and we look at the things that we're, the tasks we're supposed to be doing in our days, a lot of times when we think about prospecting, we think about doing our IPAs, our income-producing activities such as phone calls and DMing people, we procrastinate. We find excuses or reasons why we can't. I mean, door knocking could be because it's raining or it's snowing or, again, I didn't feel like it. Anything. I mean, the phone calls, the posting on social media. I mean, all of the stuff that we're supposed to be doing to get more business oftentimes does not get actually added to the calendar. Which means then, and if you're using a calendar, or you're not using a calendar, but you're super busy either way you slice it, it means you're not necessarily doing the right activities. Right? Like, being busy is super easy. I can keep myself tied up with all sorts of stuff all the time. I mean, I hear from people sometimes too, like, oh, I had to clean up the house. I had to prep dinner. And don't get me wrong, I know the house needs to be clean. I like a clean home. Dinner needs to be prepped. I like to eat. Right? So these things need to be done, and I recognize that they take time. But as we sit back and think to ourselves, how can I be a top agent? How can I take myself to a next level? We do need to look at what we're doing in a day and whether we feel busy or not. Again, the question we need to ask is, are we being productive? So I'm going to challenge you. I want you to look at your calendar. First, I want you to ask yourself, am I actually using a calendar? Am I scheduling for success? Am I seeing what needs to be done at any given moment in my day based on a plan that I made the night before? See, because it takes about 15 minutes, once a day, the day before tomorrow, every single day, to plan what you're going to be doing in that day. And simplicity is, if you do sit back and you take the time to actually acknowledge what you need to be doing, and you recognize that you write it down, now you're going to be able to ask yourself, or even tell yourself, hey, listen, this is how much time I have to get this stuff done. And those time blocks are going to keep you a lot more on track with what needs to get done. Which then, as long as the right activities are actually planned in the calendar, again, that's where the productivity comes from. So look at your calendar. And if you're not using one, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to use one. And if you are using one, ask yourself, is it full of money-making activities, IPAs, income-producing activities? Or are they just distractions? Are the things that I've put in there, like running to the grocery store and, picking up the kids from school, or, the list goes on. We could talk about all sorts of things that aren't driving income. And again, I recognize a lot of these things need to get done. I'm with you. Much the same, schedule for success. So take a look at that calendar and ask yourself, again, is it full of IPAs, or is it just really a distraction that's just keeping you feeling busy? Now, as always, solo episode here, coffee break. Where are you going? It's not a long coffee break. It's not like we got 10 or 15 minutes. This isn't recess. I just want to take a sip of my coffee. All right, so here, let's move on. So I just asked you about your calendar. But I want to go deeper here, okay? And I want you to think to yourself, do I do any of these, or do I act this way at all, or do I feel this way? Do you have any of these common, what we'll call busy agent behaviors? Because again, it's one thing to be busy, it's one thing to be productive. So ask yourself, do I do this? So here's one. Are you constantly preparing, but simply not executing? Think about that. Again, I'm planning to do the phone calls. I'm planning to do the door knock. I'm planning to do the social, record the video. But I'm not actually doing it. You ever feel that way? Or here, what about this one? If you are doing your social media, are you just posting so that you can post? Maybe try to tell the algorithm, hey, I'm here, or try to tell yourself that, hey, you're here. Like, it's just for you and not necessarily your audience. And we think about that and think again, like just getting something up there. Hey, look, I will say I am happy you're putting something up. But I will also challenge you again to think to yourself, what kind of value is that providing that I posted up? Would I care to see that? Would I react to that? Would I acknowledge that post? There's a lot of folks out there that have taken advantage of the automation that their companies, their brands have provided, thinking that if they have a tool that's going to help them put social media up consistently, that now they've got their social up. The issue is, though, that particular tool, and this is at least the one I'm thinking about right now, no names. Yes, it's helping the agent be consistent, but it's a lot of stock photography. It's not even photography. It's like graphics. It's branded graphics. And look, it looks good for the brand, but it's not the type of stuff that anybody engages with because it's just not social. It's business boring. Your audience doesn't care for that stuff. So as we think about being busy and we think about the social media and we think about what the strategy looks like, I'm asking you, are you posting for you or are you posting for them? Of course, the latter is what you want to be focused on. Here's another behavior. Are you constantly saying to yourself, you're slammed, you're so busy, you got so much going on, but within all of it, there's absolutely no prospecting? Like if you looked at your calendar right now and you're thinking, I've got so much on my plate today, and I ask you how much of that, what percentage of that has to do with prospecting? Would it even be a percent? Would it be 10%, 20%? It doesn't have to be 100%. There's a lot of other things to do. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm busy, but you're not doing any prospecting, then you're not being as productive as you should be. And then this last one here that I'd bring up is are you always getting prepared to do this stuff, but you're never actually doing it? Right? So very similar to what we said off the top about, the preparation, the lack of execution. This is where I come back to, when you've got those three types of realtors, the chaotic realtor running around like a chicken with their head cut off, not necessarily having any plan, any marketing budget, but, somehow like doing business, but busy. It could totally systematize themselves in a better way to do the same amount of business and or more and not feel as busy, but chaotic, right? You got the organized realtor who, of course, is organized, does operate to a schedule, knows what they need to be doing, and it's working for them because they got the right activities plugged into their database. Naturally, this is the one you want to be. And then you got the organized realtor. And that organized realtor is the individual who is constantly prepping, always getting ready, but never executing, pulling that trigger. You don't want to be that one. Time moves too fast. The days go by too quick. Too much happens in a day that once you start to get backlogged, there's way too much to catch up on. So think to yourself this, okay? Busy agents may feel important, feel like they're successful, feel like they're doing, feel like they're a top producer, or have that feeling of chaos. Always trying to keep up, always trying to catch up, and still actually knowing and recognizing they're not a top producer. See, top agents get the results. Top agents know what needs to be done. Yes, oftentimes, or sometimes I should say, run around chaotic. We all have a lot to do, and that'll continue to be a running theme today. But the top agents get results because they recognize that certain activities need to be part of their day no matter what. In fact, let's look at 7 key behaviors, okay? And these are things that I've looked at where, as I work with my coaching clients, as I consult with various business owners in different lines of business beyond real estate even. And I found there's common themes. When you start to run a smaller or medium-sized business, you're constantly looking to micromanage. You're constantly looking to do more. You're kind of moving in a million directions in a day. There's always a ton of responsibility and realistically never enough time or never enough people to get it done. And never enough money to hire those people to get it done. I mean, it's like it's just regular challenges of small business. But I found that these behaviors, at least 7 of them, are common with most people. And when I mean most people, I mean common with most people who are actually doing, right? Like I just asked you a few questions there around like if you have these common busy agent behaviors. When we look at the top agents, when we look at people who are running strong businesses, who are achieving the things they want to achieve, they are more focused in on what needs to take place. So the alternative to what we just talked about here is, again, what are these key behaviors I should be doing? Well, the first one I'm going to say to you is intentional scheduling. Okay, be intentional about your schedule. If you've listened to this podcast before, and I thank you for that, and if it's your first time here, I thank you for that as well. If you've seen me on a stage, or you've seen any of my content, along the way over the years at any point, one of the biggest learnings that I teach on does come back to scheduling, blocking time. Some people call it time management. I call it like make time manage you. However you want to swing it, right? Are you being intentional? That's one of the key behaviors that you need to have. You need to be more intentional. If you want to get up and out of a rut, if you want to make this year your best year, block prospecting time. Okay? Protect those windows of opportunity when you're supposed to be doing follow-up. Oh, but I got to run to the store. Okay, so do the follow-up while you're running to the store. I don't care if you're running or driving. I don't care if you're walking. Hell, you could be crawling. I don't know if that would be the best look. But anyways, you get it. Right? We need to protect those windows of time because those are what actually drive opportunity. Okay, so the first one, intentional scheduling. The second behavior here is educate your clients. We too often allow the media and or our competition to actually communicate with our clients, to help our clients see what's going on in the market, to give them the information and the value that maybe they're looking for. And we do it simply because we just don't have the systems set up. We don't have the blocks of time. Or we do, and we procrastinate. Or we didn't get organized with our contact list to figure out who we're calling and why we're calling. Or sending voice notes. Hey, good morning. Just checking in with you this morning. Just on the run to another appointment, but I did do a quick search this morning. I did not see anything match your criteria. I'm sure you're looking around. Like I've said to you before, give me a shout or text me later or even send me back a voice note if you found something. I'll dig deeper into it for us. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Too simple. I just riffed that off. Like it's what's so hard about that? See, the active communication with your active clients on a daily basis, remember something, that listing, oh, but I'm so busy, you're saying, right? Yeah, but that listing, your sign is on their front lawn. Every morning they wake up, they see your sign. They're wondering what's going on. Just touch base. Let them know that you know they're there. Technically, they see you, if your face is on their sign, but your name is on their sign. So regardless, they see you, they think about you. Make sure you're connecting. Sending out newsletters. This idea that newsletters are a dying breed because of social media. Whoa. Stop the horses over here, okay? Stop the horses. Is that the line? Stop the horses. I think it works. Anyways. This whole thing of social media is incredibly saturated. I'm not suggesting don't be there. I've already alluded to the fact or said that earlier. Yes, we need a strategy. And it can't just be for us. It's got to be for them. Much the same, that's what we're talking about right now. Educating. Right? Communicating to educate. Doing it regularly. So something like a newsletter is an incredible vehicle because it's a passive touch point. By paper and by email. Yes, both. Different types of content. A different delivery channel. You have no idea what they're reading. Of course they're going to tell you you don't need to send me the mail. I'm good with email. And of course if you're only sending the email, they're going to tell you they don't need the email. Nobody really needs it. Oh, wait. There is one person who needs it. That's right. You. You need to be telling people the doors are open, the lights are on. You need to be getting in front of people. So these newsletters are an incredible vehicle, an informative vehicle to add a ton of value and educate people. The more you educate, the more people look at you as the go-to expert. The more they trust you. Now that you got the trust, you have the opportunity to get the deal. Well, to get the listing. Turn the buyer. And then get the deal. Another way to educate could be doing like live Q&As. You could do those online. You could do those offline. They're coming back. People are doing them. People are doing seminars. Never mind webinars. They're getting people back into rooms. All of this is way better than just sending the, just listed spam. Just listed. Well, that's great. But I know that by you just saying just listed, you're talking to many people. And if I'm not in the market, I could care. I don't care. Meanwhile, if you make that more of a personal connection and you tell me direct, hey, Dave, property down the street from you, 123 Anywhere Street. Oh, yeah, I recognize the street. Yeah, just got a property listed up there. Thought I'd let you know. I'm around the corner from you. It's listed for, and you give them the price. See if they got any questions. Maybe they got a friend or a family member that wants to move into the neighborhood. See, again, we're educating, right? So communicate to educate. That is a behavior that you have to as part of, not only just your week or your strategy, but daily. Pick a few people. Reach out. Get in touch. Those one-on-one connections are what build the relationship, and this is a relationship business. Number 3, track your pipeline daily. Okay? Don't wait until month end to see, what's working, what's not working. Don't think that, I'll follow up with them in a couple of weeks. If people reached out to you to talk to you about real estate, it's on you to chase them. And if you are thinking anything but that it's on them to chase you, then hey, there's a reason why you're not getting as much business as you'd like to get. We've got to look at how often we're communicating with people, how many people we're communicating with, how we're actually doing the communication. And we need to adjust as things are going. Oh, I don't like to make phone calls, so I just send text messages. I just do DMs. Okay, how's that working for you? Oh, I've got people that inquired, but they never called me back. Well, have you called them back? Again, don't wait. Keep track of that pipeline. Know what's coming through. Know who's in the pipe. and stay in touch with them. Because again, if they expressed interest and through your screening and your checklist and the right questions that you ask, you have realized that they are serious, then if you don't help them, somebody else will. Again, track it daily. Do not wait until the end of the month to see what's working. Number 4, batch your content. Okay, be strategic about this. Again, bringing social media back up, bringing that content strategy back up. And in fact, let's not isolate just to social media, okay? When we talk about a content strategy, we are talking about if you look down the 7 ways to communicate. So in person, we know we want to have conversations, but that's not content strategy. Phone calls and text messages, again, very similar to that. And those are what we call active touch points. But then you've got things like direct mail. Maybe you got to write a newsletter. Your email newsletter. You got to write that. Your social media. Got to go down and I've got to create my videos. I've got to, create my posts. Well, first we got to figure out who we're talking to. We always got to know that, right? And that's really going to come back. You're going to know that through looking at your contact list. You're going to know that through looking at your deal tracker. And by the way, if you're wondering what a deal tracker is, this is a document that we use within our coaching program, our one-to-one clients, to track every deal that they do. And it's not just, who and the numbers and the commissions and the GCI. I mean, hey, the GCI is great as you get to watch it grows up. Awesome. But we really get to go deeper, including being able to see where did the deal come from? Because once we can see where the deals came from and we can start to establish a pattern, we're just going to go there and get more. We make it too simple. We really make it too simple in our coaching program. And I mean, these are eye-opening moments when you can start to see this stuff. Because again, it just takes such a load off of your shoulders. It makes you want to make those phone calls. It makes you want to do that social media post. You get excited because there's going to be results. But as we talk to time and we talk about content, we do need to create value. We just talked about that as well, educating our clients. And we want to make sure that we're not turning ourselves into content creators, okay? Constantly just creating content. Don't get me wrong. If you can put a bunch of content out there, you give yourself a higher chance of being seen. But I do want to make sure that we've got the right balance between the passive touch points of, for example, sharing content. A blog on your website is another example, right? But that we're watching the time that we put into it, so that our active touch points of the phone calls, the text, the in-person meetings, we can be doing even more of that. The content should be working in the background for you. Again, it's a passive touch point that delivers a message and educates your clients. It supports your active touch points. So instead of trying to create content on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, think about creating it on a monthly basis. Plan ahead. Have a content calendar. Really look ahead to, the next 30 days and lay out ideas within that calendar for each day of the week that you're going to post. So if you want to post 7 days a week, then you can have an, incredibly full, 30, 31 day, whatever, content calendar. If you're posting 3 times a week, right, then that's going to change. You might only have 12 posts you got to create. So lay out that calendar, know how many posts need to be created, create those posts about the same time, block that time to do so, and on that day you might take 2 hours or 3 hours to just bury your head in creating content. But now, for the rest of the month, you don't have to worry about it. Remember who you're talking to, right? And when I say that, I mean your contact list. Who is your niche market? Deliver that value to them. Do it through a series of different channels. And along the way, too, hey, listen, you can repurpose that content. In fact, not only can you repurpose that content by taking a video that you might have shared out months ago or even a year ago, and if it's applicable, you could repost it if you wanted to. Much the same, you could take the content ideas, you can record a video, you can write a blog post, You can add it into your email and send that out that way. And then when you're speaking to people, you can use the same concepts of what you just talked about on all this other, these other passive platforms, channels. You can do it actively. So there's where when you think repurposing, right? How am I going to use that piece of content again? Well, let's think about the different channels we can use it on. And, well, there's you repurposing. Another key behavior, number 5 here. I'm going to call this being ruthless with your time. You have to be able to say no to what doesn't build your business, build your brand, build your pipeline, build you. Think about how often you get from people who go, "Hey, you got a minute?" And look, let me please say this. If you just heard me say that and you're thinking, "Well, I've asked him that," please know that it's not that I don't appreciate people reaching out to see if I got a minute. It's not that I don't appreciate having the conversations or people even thinking about me wanting to talk. And I do the same with others. I do. We all do. But I'm saying to you, I'm saying to me, I'm saying to all of us, you've got to be able to say no. I don't have a minute right now. Hey, how about we connect on this day, or does that day work better? It's okay. We're all busy. But if we continue to say yes to everything that comes through, come on. Let's be real. We both know we're not going to get all the shit done that we got to get done in a day because we're constantly doing for others. And yes, being successful in life and in business and in everything else, it is a big part about doing for others. And hopefully people will reciprocate and do for you. But there's definitely something to be said about being able to say no to people and really, taking hold of your time. And notice how time is a running theme throughout today's show. It is so important because, again, when it comes to being busy or being productive, I'd rather be productive 11 times out of 10. And I know you would too. So be ruthless with your time. Really take control, because if you don't, achieving your goals and having the success that you want, it becomes harder and harder to achieve. Number 6. I want you to think about what the big brands do. And I'm going to say this one, we're going to label this one as running campaigns. Think about your local big box stores. Think about TV commercials. Think about what happens at different times of the year. They got back to school sales. They have Halloween. There's the holidays. There's, Valentine's Day. There's spring. I don't know, whatever. Easter. I don't know. Whatever they do. It doesn't have to be religious stuff. I'm just saying, you think about the way they deck out their stores or the branding, and they theme stuff, and they have it, they're running certain campaigns for a period of time, 30, 60, 90 days. Now, I realize, especially when we're talking something like real estate, so what are you going to do? Put a house on sale for 30 days? I mean, obviously we'd like it to sell faster than 30 days, and it could take much longer. It'd be like a 90 to 120 days, or maybe not sell at all. But when I talk to running campaigns, it's thinking, okay, we got the spring market right now. What could I have done back in the month of, say, February to get prepared for the month of, say, March, so that in March I could then send out or start communicating with people to allude to the spring market? And look, there's a million things we could do. We could talk about the messaging. We could talk about, a deliverable, something like grass seed or flowers or something. And I know you're like, what? I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to connect with the community and connect with our contact list. I guess use those as visuals when we talk about spring. We get to fall. Maybe you're running a campaign. You're giving out yard bags, and people, in order to get the yard bag, they scan a QR code. That QR code takes them to a landing page. They enter in their information. You get a new contact, or AKA lead. I'm going to call it opportunity. I don't like that word lead. But you get this new person in your database, and now you deliver them the yard bag. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that all these campaigns need to be you giving something, but giving is always nice too. right? So just think, though, what could I do? How could I step up the branding, the messaging, the voice based on the time of the year, based on the season? And number 7 here, and this one is one that I know a lot of people just stay away from. I don't have time, and that's exactly where it comes. I don't have time for that. Or I know everything. I'm good. I'm going to label this one as self-education. I'm talking, yes. First, again, thank you for being here today. Thank you for tuning into the Mindshare podcast. Right now, you are doing exactly that. You are self-educating. You are taking your time to listen to this show so you can learn something. Because I know you're not just here because you like the sound of my voice. But think about it. Reading, training, attending trainings, getting coached. It's always about staying sharp. Listening to a podcast. We can't just be educating our clients. We need to be. But we also got to be educating ourselves. Now think about that. The more I educate myself, the more I can actually educate my client. Because I'm learning. I'm seeing what are the issues. And part of, and I would say I'm super fortunate because for all the amazing people I get to work with, I learn so much from these people about what they're going through in a day. And as I speak to more and more people, more and more of our clients, more and more, people that are not clients yet, but from the stages or anywhere else, you start to get these ideas of like, what's the running theme right now? Where are people struggling? Where are people winning? What's working? What's not working? Who else is feeling that way? And then we get to take that. We get to turn that into a podcast, turn it into a video, turn it into something to make sure that we could teach you. We could say, look, you're not the only one, or hey, here's how other people are doing it, which is essentially exactly what we're doing here today. 30 minutes. 30 minutes a day to feed your brain, to educate yourself. The more you're talking to buyers or sellers, the more you're learning about the market. The more you learn about the market, the more you can educate people about the market because you have a good handle on what's going on in this market. See, for anybody who's not actually educating themselves, anybody who's not actually taking the time to learn more and just thinks they know it all or they're just too busy so they can't do it, the reality is they're not as educated. And I'm not saying they're stupid people. Please don't take me out of context here. I'm saying in the moment, the more information you take in, the more your brain's going to process that. And then as you talk about it, the brain is then going to deliver it in your words. And you might have read 4 articles about the exact same thing, or listened to 3 podcasts about the exact same thing, or read, 7 books that talked about a similar thing. But now you've been able to break it down for yourself and go, I get this, I understand it. And that's where I will come back to something like, number 4, when we talked about content and batch creating it strategically. Think about it. People have a fear of getting out there and talking because what if they're wrong? Well, if you're better educated and you've gone through and taken the time to actually learn about this stuff, then you're not wrong. And you got to think to yourself, most people don't take the time to do that. So I, in fact, might have more knowledge on this particular topic at this particular moment than most people. Much the same I'll say to you. We're not concerned about other people. I know that sounds harsh. But be concerned about you. Be concerned about what you're doing to feed your brain, what you're doing to educate yourself, and what you're doing to take that education and deliver it back to your clients. Because again, I just brought up, the batch creation. Well, much the same. In number 2, we talked about educating your clients and doing it regularly. See, if we go back through those 7 keys, okay, 1, we had, intentional scheduling. 2 was client education, connecting with people regularly. 3, tracking your pipeline daily. Okay, don't wait till the end of the month and go, I wonder what happened to those people. 4, batch creating your content, being strategic about it. 5, being ruthless with your time. Number 6, we talked about campaigns and thinking like the big brands. You don't need to be a big brand to pull it off. And then again, finally here was education, right? The more you educate yourself, the more you can educate them. I'll say it again. If your calendar's full, but your pipeline is empty, your closings are empty, something's wrong. Right? You're not doing the right things. Activity doesn't equal progress, and effort doesn't mean income. So look, stop being proud of being busy. Start being proud of being effective. So here, let's have some takeaway action steps, okay? Because I want you to do these three things. I want you to take action as you close this out. And if you're driving, of course, continue driving. But seriously speaking, I want you to take the opportunity from everything that we talked about today. And I want you to do these three moves, okay? Number one, I want you to audit your week. Go through your week, look at how much you do schedule. And again, if you don't schedule, that's your first change right there. I'm talking everything. I've got time where literally there's time blocks on my schedule to say kids. And yeah, that might sound crazy. You block time to spend with your kids. You don't just do it. No, because if I don't block the time, I'll probably spend too much time on my phone and on my laptop and talking to clients. And then next thing you know, time's passing me by and my kids are bigger than me. Well, reality is, if you ask me what I'm doing it all for, I'm doing it for them. I love those two. Oh my God, it's amazing. But audit your week, okay? That's the first step here. Audit your week. Eliminate one quote-unquote busy habit. Something you're doing that's just not driving you forward. Something you're doing that's just taking too much time that you could probably consolidate into a smaller block of time and do it less often. Number two, replace that quote-unquote busy habit with a business driving activity, an income-producing activity. Okay, so take one piece out and move another piece in. Is it making your phone calls? Is it sending DMs? Is it connecting, is it doing texts? Is it going and seeing people? We're just moving some blocks around over here. We're going to take one, we're going to put it on the sidelines or on the shelf and on the bench, let's call it, as a sports guy here. You're on the bench. We're going to pull the bench player off, and we're going to throw the bench player in, but we know that bench player is the one that actually kicks ass for us. They're the one that actually, hits the home runs and drives the wins. And number three, and this is a daily task, measure it. Track your output and not just your input. Yes, schedule. Yes, input into your calendar. But track what's working. Track where the deals are coming from. Track how much you're accomplishing. Track if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Track your goals. Track your schedule. And along the way, measure it. I come back to that deal tracker that I mentioned with my coaching clients. We can look at that and we can see what's working. But that gives us one piece of the puzzle. We then look to our goal trackers and we see, are we doing the activities we're supposed to be doing to get the results that we want to be getting? Because there are specific actions that need to be taken in order to achieve the results you want in different areas of both your life and your business. And those actions are what need to be scheduled. And as you do those actions or don't do those actions, you will be able to measure what kind of effort you're putting in to achieve the results you actually want to achieve. And when you can clearly see it, when you are winning, you can tell why. And when you're not winning, you can tell why. And it makes it a lot easier to adjust and to move forward. So again, those three moves, you're going to audit your week. You're going to eliminate one busy habit. Number two, you're going to replace it with one business driving activity, one income producing activity, an IPA. And number three, we're going to measure it. We're going to measure the progress. We're going to track the output and not just the input. Look, you don't need to hustle harder. You need to work smarter. So here's the bottom line. If you're feeling stretched, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling constantly slammed with no results to show for it, please know, you're not alone. But being busy, it's not the goal. Being better, being more productive, that's the goal. And right now, the agents who are winning, they're not the ones doing the most. They're the ones doing what matters most. They're focused, they're structured, they're visible, they're consistent. They got systems, the follow-up, and they don't waste time playing the, again, like the content game without a plan. All these, people, I'm going to be a podcaster and I'm going to be a coach. Like, are you in real estate? What do you do? See, the top people aren't waiting for, the perfect market conditions. And we know that there's never look, you could say a few years ago when things were selling like hotcakes and you put a sign online, you just sold it overnight with no conditions for over asking. Yeah, maybe you could say like, oh, that was perfect. And I guess, yeah, in some respects, sure. For agents who had the listings, it was amazing. But let's look at normalcy, right? Let's look at regular timelines, call it regular markets. What defines a regular market, I guess, right? But regardless, top producers, top agents, they're building momentum no matter what. Okay, one intentional move at a time. And that's it right there. That's really the challenge that I want to leave you with today. Okay, audit your week. Replace the busy work with real work. And start making that shift from hustle to high performance. Hey, if this episode hit home, let me know. Leave a review. Share it with a colleague. And of course, don't forget to grab your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle at mindshare101.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, keep building that mind share because that's how you earn the market share. You've been listening to the Mindshare Podcast, whether it's on one of your favorite podcast platforms or directly from my website at mindshare101.com. While you're there, explore how our full range of services from one-to-one coaching, the Mindshare Collective group coaching, momentum training, and keynote speaking will take your business to the next level. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare and earn more market share, as well as learn more about joining the revolution. For any inquiries, just get in touch with us today. And if you enjoy the show, please be sure to leave a review. www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Connect with me on Facebook and TikTok at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems, REM Magazine, and Revel Realty for the continued support as sponsors of this show. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.